Hi, everybody. So, I've been with the association for a very long time, and I recognize a lot of you, but how many here are brand new? This is their first forum. Welcome. Thank you for coming. I hope that you're getting a lot out of it. I'm going to talk to you, hopefully for the next hour, 2 hours. I'll give you a break for myself. So we're going to talk about understanding and responding to dementia-related behaviors. How many people here want to bang their head up against the door when their loved one asks them 15 times when dinner is? How many times do you have to... Oh, see, I hate this. It's this. Ugh. I'm taller than everybody except for Craig, but I'm assuming you can see above my head. Okay. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Apparently I'm in the right place. Okay. How many people here are actually dealing with problematic behaviors? Repetitive questioning, wandering, pacing. How many times does your loved one say no when you ask them to do something? How long does it take you to get them to the doctors? All day. Right? Get them ready. Right? It took you what? Maybe a half an hour to get ready this morning? 45 minutes? 15? 5? Right? But it would take your loved one, what? 4 hours? 5 hours? Okay. So what I'm going to talk to you about is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you some strategies that you can use across all behaviors. Okay? And then we're going to do some vignettes. So it'll be call and response. Okay? Just to wake you up a little bit. Get the energy going. So, by the time we're done, you'll be able to, one, identify common triggers for behaviors. So what are the causes of behaviors? Right? All behavior has a meaning. Right? Just like when the mic just screeched at me, what did I do? I freaked out. Right? That was my behavior. But what was the trigger? What caused it? Too high. The speaker. Right? Oftentimes, you're going to play the detective of trying to figure out, why is my loved one doing this? How many times do you ask yourself that? Time and time again. Why are they doing this? And then, why are they doing this to me? Right? We start to take it personally. I'm going to explain the process for assessing and identifying challenging behaviors. So it's a 4-step process. Very easy. Promise. You don't have to do homework. But I would ask you to practice it. Okay? And then we'll talk about we'll list some strategies to deal with 2 specific behaviors. And that's where we're going to do some call and response. So I'm going to make Melinda run around with this microphone. So, behavior changes have many triggers, right? Pain, discomfort. Okay, so when I walked in front of the speaker, that loud noise, did it hurt your ears? Right? It made my heart skip a beat. I told myself back there, I'm not going to walk in front of the speaker. What did I do? Within the first, 2 minutes? I walked in front of the speaker, right? So, your loved one might be exhibiting some pain or discomfort, in which case you're going to get a behavioral response. They might not be able to tell you what that is, right? They might not be able to say, I stubbed my toe on the door because I wasn't paying attention. They might not be able to communicate that with you. What they might do is start crying or screaming or throwing things. And then you have to figure out what is going on and what did I do, right? Another thing that happens is overstimulation or boredom. Who's bored with me? Don't raise your hand. Right? Boredom. If your loved one is bored, you're going to get a behavioral response. Either the person's going to be sleeping all day, and then it's going to take you forever to get them to do something, right? Or they're going to wander, they're going to pace, or even have more catastrophic behavioral responses, okay? What happens when they're overstimulated? What do I mean by overstimulated? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise. I call it noise in the environment, right? It's hard for them to focus, right, when there's a lot of people, right? So if you go out to brunch after church, it's usually crowded in a restaurant, right? There's waiters, there's noise, there's other people talking, there's kids yelling. You're tired, all you want to do is go home, right? That's way too much for your loved one. And then, what do? You ask them, what would you like to eat? And you can be there for another hour, or they start getting very anxious, right? So you're not going to take them to Denny's, are you? And give them the menu and ask them to choose what they want, right? Because it's too much stimulation for them. Sure. I'll bring you. Oh, I can't walk by there. So the question is, can a person with dementia or diagnosed with Alzheimer's drink coffee? My response is going to be, you probably shouldn't mix caffeine or any stimulants with somebody with Alzheimer's disease. Okay? So if they have to have coffee, I would recommend it be decaf coffee. The problem with caffeine also is, as a stimulant, it also is going to make them go to the bathroom more, right? Because it's a diuretic. So you might want to stay away from it. But then I'm going to say, then the other Heather's going to say, you know, at the end of the day, if they're screaming and want coffee, and that's the only thing that's going to make them happy, make them happy. Okay? You're going to have to deal with the consequences, but, you know, the consequences might not be as high as the anxiety that they're having because they're not getting what they need.
Not just coffee, Pepsi.
Pepsi, anything with caffeine. Okay? But then what did the other Heather say? Give it to them, right? You can give them the cookie. It's not the end of the world. But what's important for you to know, what are the consequences if I do give them these things, right? And the consequences might not be as bad as the constant asking. Can I have it? Can I have it? When can I have it? Where can I have it? Okay? So the other thing is, I really feel that the heart of dementia, and especially specifically somebody with Alzheimer's disease, the root cause of a lot of these behavior problems is fear, uncertainty, right? They're walking around in a world that is unfamiliar with them, or to them, right? They might not have the language skills to communicate with you, to tell them that they're scared, right? I also like to put myself in the person's shoes. Now, as my colleagues will attest, I'm very opinionated and I'm very independent. If Craig came over and told me what to do, when to do it, and how to do it every day, we would have problems, right? It's the same thing for your loved one, right? You're telling them what to do, when to do it, how to do it, right? And they're constantly fighting for their independence, right? And so you see this a lot in the early stages of the disease, when the person is pretty independent, maybe has some, you know, minor difficulties, but can pull it together, right? They will constantly fight with you that nothing's wrong with me, it's you, right? In their world, that is true, right? But as caregivers, what are we doing? We're telling them, no, you're wrong, I'm right. Right? That's your reality. That's probably my reality. That's the real world. But for your loved one, that is not. So what do you need to do? Yes, we can explain. I'm doing this because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We can rationalize. Absolutely. We could compromise, sure. Does that always work? No. Not at all. Right? Because what happens? We over-explain. We over-rationalize. Right? And makes the person more confused. And when I'm confused, I get very anxious. And then frustrated. And then curse words come out. Maybe not all in that order, but that's pretty typical me. Right? And so when I'm frustrated, what's really happening is I'm scared. Right? I don't have control anymore. I'm losing control and somebody's trying to take it away from me. I will fight back. And that's what's happening with your loved one. They're fighting back. Good for them. Right? Good for them that they have the strength to fight back. Another problem that we see, or trigger, is unfamiliar surroundings. How many people got lost driving over here? Right? We're confused. How many people didn't use Google Maps? Just winged it. Right? Thank God for the 2000s, right? I don't know what we did in the 90s. Oh my God. I don't know what I would do without Google Maps. This feels like it always existed. But if we're in unfamiliar surroundings, we have to reorient it ourselves. Know where the bathroom is, know where the seat is. We have to kind of work it. We can pull it together. Right? If we go traveling, we can pull it together. We get organized, maybe we have a list. Maybe we over-prepare for the people that write down everything that you're going to do, the hour that you're going to do it. Yeah, we're not traveling together. Right? But your loved one lacks the capacity to pull it together. Right? It might take them longer to get comfortable. Right? But they might show agitation. Or they might say, I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. And what's home? It's safe. It's familiar. They might get a little confused in the home, but they feel safe. Right? So you have a couple jobs as caregivers. Right? There's many jobs that you have. But the most important job is to outlive the person you're taking care of. So I really like all the self-care. But that is your job. You have to outlive them. Right? You're not going to outlive them if you don't take care of yourself. Right? So self-care is extremely important. The second job is to make sure that the person doesn't set themselves on fire.
Yes.
Safety. Right? The third job is to make sure that they're contented and involved to their abilities, right? That they're relatively happy. All the other stuff is filler, right? I like to call it you're crazy, right? We have to have things a certain way or else it's chaos. For example, the toilet paper needs to be put on the roll a certain way or Heather goes crazy. Okay? Or when you put the knives in the knife block, there's special homes for those knives. Right? That's my crazy. I own it. It took me a while, but yes. Right? Towels need to be folded a certain way. Dishes need to be put away a certain way. We all have our own crazy, right? But you get 5 crazies. All the other stuff, you're going to have to let go. right? It doesn't really matter that the knives are not in the correct home in the block. At least they put them away, right? Doesn't matter that the toilet paper's not on the roll a certain way. At least it's there, right? I get it, right? But if we try and constantly say it's my way or the highway, you're going to wear yourselves out. Okay, so that's why you get five crazies. And then that you don't allow that person to do those things, right? So they're not going to help you put away the dishes, right? They're not going to get fold the towels. But you are going to have to replace that with something else, right? The disease is taking enough away from that person, right? It will eventually, that person will not be able to engage in those activities. So you have to ask yourself, why do I need to step in right now and take that away from them? Okay? So just something to think about. A lot of the tasks that we perform on a daily basis are very complicated tasks. Right? So it's really important to, if you're going to have your loved one do laundry, right? That's a complicated task. But maybe your loved one can do one step of that task, right? Maybe your loved one can throw all the laundry into the basket. That's a step, right? Maybe your loved one can fold the towels, right? Maybe your loved one can take things out of the dryer, right? That's a step. So when you're thinking about tasks, think if they're complicated, if they're too complicated for where your loved one's at, right? And then how can we break up that task in order to involve all of them? What does it feel like when you get the answer right? It feels good, right? You feel like you accomplished something, right? What does it feel like when you get it wrong? And then you're told you're wrong. It feels pretty happy, right? It doesn't feel good. If your loved one, if you're constantly telling your loved one, oh, let me just do that for you, what's happening? You're taking away their independence, and it makes them feel like they're wrong, right? They're not stepping up. They're not doing it correctly. Right, so it doesn't make you feel good, it definitely doesn't make them feel good. So, understanding and addressing behavior. So the 4 steps. 1, detect and connect. What is happening before the behavior? Okay? Is there a trigger? And I'll go through these in a little bit more detail. Second step, address physical needs first. Are they in pain? Right? Is there a medication reaction? Is there something else going on? Address emotional needs. Right? What did I say your job was? The third part of your job? Well, no. Number 3 is not outlive. That's number 1. Write it down. Get it tattooed. Okay? Number 3 is to make sure that they're contented and involved. Right? Contented means making sure that there is no discomfort. Addressing when they're frustrated. What do you do when you're frustrated? You're irritable. What helps calm you down? Not a 5th of vodka. Don't tell me that. Food, right? A hug, maybe. For me, it takes me 5 minutes for somebody to touch me. I'm like, no. Okay, now you can touch me. Right? Somebody that has some compassion, I understand. Right? So I want somebody to hug me, or to cry with me, or just to listen. Might not need them to resolve the problem, I just want to be heard. Okay? So, addressing the emotional needs. Third, reassess and plan for next time. because it will happen again. Or not, but more than likely it will happen again. So whatever strategy that you came up with might work all the time for many years, but it might not work in year 5, right? So you're gonna have to reassess. So let's talk about detecting and connecting.
Could you just bring all that, we can't see in the back, just do the 4 things first?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go over them individually. So number 1, detect and connect. What did I talk about your reality? It's not your reality anymore. It's your loved one's reality. How do we make them comfortable? We need to go to their reality. Right? We need to talk to them to where they're at. Meet them where they're at. Right? So, understanding the person's reality in context before intervening. So ask yourself who, what, where, when, and how. Right? Are there other people in the room? Right? Do I only get agitated when my cousin's over? Right? Do I only get frustrated after dinner and before lunch or before lunch? Okay? Do I only get angry when I'm in the kitchen? Usually I get angry when I'm trying to figure out who messed up the remote control. That's kind of my trigger. But what's happening? What's happening before the behavior? Because oftentimes, if we can change that, if we can change that trigger, then the behavior is not going to occur. But sometimes we can't figure out what that trigger is, right? And it could be a whole host of things. It could be you. You could be the trigger. And you're not going to be able to change that. But what you do have control over is changing how you respond to that behavior, right? So if you're in a hurry and you're freaking out and you're telling somebody it's time to get ready, it's time to get ready, it's time to get ready, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't know what you're talking about, right? And then you're amping it up even more, what are you doing?
Escalating it.
You're aggravating it, right? You are the cause. And that's hard, right? That's hard to say, it's my fault. But this is what you have control over, okay? You have control over how you're going to respond. Either you agitate the person more, or you respond in a calm, cool, collected voice, right? Non-verbally, you use touch. Your voice is always soft to a point where, that I feel like I'm meditating. Okay? And then you can go lock yourself in the closet and bang your head up against the wall. Okay? But you never do that in front of the person with the disease. Because if you do, you're going to get a catastrophic reaction from that. Okay? So you want to be calm and respectful. So what do you do when somebody's agitated? What do you do when they're crying and they're saying, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home? What do? You go home, wherever that is. Right? Because home might not be where they are now, in their reality. Home might be where they were when they were 5. Right? So how do you calm your person down if you can't take them where they want to go? And you have no idea where that is. Right? You approach them calmly. You said, it's okay. I'm right here. We will go home soon. And then redirect to something else. Right? Here's a cookie. Right? So it's always respond to the emotion behind the behavior. And when I said a lot of that behavior is caused by frustration and confusion and anxiety, you're going to respond to that. Not what the person said, not what the person necessarily did, but to calm them down. When you're sad, You grab a box of tissue, I call my best friend, right? Because I know that she's going to calm me down. She's not fixing anything. I might still be sad, but she is my comfort. What do you do when you're sad? Anybody? You cry, and then what? Listen to music. Music is great therapy. Listening to music, turning on music for your loved one and for yourself can ease the tension in the environment. So addressing physical needs, right? Is there a medical issue? Is there something else going on? Are they hungry? Are they thirsty? Right? Or is there a lack of social interaction? Are they stimulated? Okay. Are there any environmental triggers? Is a TV set on and the radio on and the grandkids are playing in the backyard and you're telling them to take their medication? Who do you think they're listening to? Definitely not you, right? Something other than you. Because you've already spent the last 6 hours telling them what to do and how to do it. They've tuned you out, right? So are there environmental triggers for whatever discomfort that they're having, okay? Sometimes, whose loved one has ever had a urinary tract infection? Those are notorious for causing a whole host of behavior problems, right? And once they have them once, they will have them again, and again, and again, and again. And if you have somebody, especially in the middle stages of the disease, that can't tell you where they are in pain, right? Or they're associating that bladder pain with hunger, or I'm not hungry, it's really hard to know what they're dealing with, or that they have a urinary tract infection. That's typically my go-to when I'm talking to families, and they're telling me, I don't know, a couple weeks ago he was just fine, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, it's probably a UTI, right? Because we don't see that rapid decline in behavior with Alzheimer's disease without some other physical or medical issue interfering.
It's important to address the physical needs of a person with Alzheimer's because we should really see if there's something going on that might be causing some pain or discomfort that's causing the person to act a certain way. Like, for example, it could be as simple as maybe the person's shoe is on wrong and it's causing pain in their foot, and by adjusting the shoe would sort of get rid of that frustration, make them walk better. Or it could be something more serious like a urinary tract infection that's causing some problems. So it's important to check that out, whether it be something you could do yourself or something that you should go see a doctor about.
Thanks, Sam. So, addressing emotional needs. Focus again on the feelings, on the emotions, not necessarily what's being said, but what are the emotions behind what's being said. Fear, frustration, anxiety are probably your go-to. There could be other emotions, but those tend to be the go-to. Use your knowledge of the person's preferences. You know this person. Right? You know what they like, what they dislike. Use those tools that you already possess, that information, as an intervention. And then redirect. Redirect, redirect, redirect. Respond and redirect. Here's a cookie. Don't give them cookies all day long, okay? But, redirect them to another activity. Maybe you can talk about a story or have them reminisce with you. Give them grapes. Redirect with grapes.
She was part of the family, she'd fold towels, and she'd fold towels all day long some days. Just, put them back in the basket, and then she'd give them to her, here's some more towels. And it may sound like it's cruel, but look, it kept her busy. It kept her movements going. It kept her, just kept her occupied, and it made her feel wanted and that she was contributing. We created a routine for her that worked for her around her agitation, and her sleep patterns. So every day she was in the same routine for the most part. And every day she did something. She was always in the kitchen every day helping do something. Sometimes she'd rinse dishes. But she was always near the kitchen sink because she spent most of her life in front of the kitchen sink. Now she was just doing it in different ways. And yeah, going for a walk, going out in the car for a drive, walking around the yard, you know, watering plants. Those are all things that she did, and we just had her continue doing them.
So finding an activity that your loved one enjoys or creating an activity. Sorting tasks, folding tasks, something that they, folding tasks, something that they can feel that they're contributing, that they're a partner in this caregiving journey can be very helpful for them. And for you, right? Because it gives you an opportunity to connect with them or reconnect with them. Again, don't give them a task or a job that has to be done a certain way for you. Remember, you're crazy? Don't do that, right? Don't do anything that's going to frustrate you even more. Okay, give them something that is okay. It doesn't matter what it looks like, right? That job of keeping them contented and involved. I have a gentleman who's taking care of his grandfather, and his grandfather loves putting coins in the rolls, right? And so he bought a whole bunch of the rolls, and every night when his grandfather goes to bed, he just breaks them open, puts them back into a bowl, and then the next day, his grandfather does it again, right? And, yeah, it sounds funny, but his grandfather feels like he's helping him. Oh, can you take care of this? I have to take this to the bank, right? His grandfather wasn't, it's hours of enjoyment for him. He takes a break and then he goes back. Doesn't matter what the rolls look like. Doesn't matter that the nickels might be in the quarter roll. The dimes might be in the penny roll. It doesn't matter what it looks like, right? His grandfather feels that he's contributing, that he's helping his grandson. So, if it works today, it might not work next week, 5 years down the line. So it's really good to reassess. What's working for you? What isn't working? How do I adjust? Joining that person's reality. What went well? Listening to other people's stories can be very helpful. Getting yourself an arsenal of tools to use. Right? Listening to how other people tackle these problems. Because if you're dealing with it, I guarantee somebody else is. Right? So going to support groups, attending a support group meeting, talking to people, meeting people, expanding your community of support. The one thing I often hear from families is, nobody's helping me. I'm in it alone. Right? And it might very well feel that way. Right? Friends disappear, family members disappear, but they don't have a problem telling you how to do something, right? Or that you're doing it wrong, but they don't show up, right? Meeting with other families that are living this or going through this journey can be your new support system, right? Just listening and talking and connecting. No. So the question was, at the support group, do you bring your loved one to the support group? No. So the support groups are for you. What's your number one job?
Take care of yourself.
Right? How do you do that?
Put your mask on.
You have to take care of yourself. So the support group is just for you. We have other programs for the person with the diagnosis. There's a lot of vendors here that from adult daycare, in-home care, that I really implore you to reach out to and talk to about providing that respite so that you can get out, go to the movie. Hopefully mom doesn't call. Who was that? Right? Mom calls all the time, right? Or you can go to a support group, or you can go get your hair done, or you can go get a pedicure. You know, or you can go have coffee with that friend that you haven't seen for 5 years. right? Because after the 100th time of them asking, do you want to go do something, and you said no, they stopped calling. Okay? So having that respite is really important. And then talking to people that can relate to what you're experiencing is extremely important. And then what you also want to do is think about how do I make adjustments? Is it me? Right? Taking that extra step and really looking at, am I causing this problem? Am I creating more of a fuss than what's needed? Okay, so this is a call and response. Take stretch. Stretch. Audience participation. So, the other PowerPoint. So we're going to utilize those 4 tools that I talked to you about. Yeah. Screen. Too bold. Yeah. The other one.
Vignette. Anxiety.
That's fine. Okay. Because of time, I have 2 vignettes for us to work on, right? So, don't stand in front of the speaker, Heather. See, I learned. Alice is a 75-year-old retired nurse with dementia, and she was pacing in the hallways in her house in the evening saying, I need to go, I need to go. She would not stop walking, even for meals. So what her family did was give her sandwiches. So while she was walking, she would eat. Though she used a cane, she was getting blisters on her feet and had lost weight from not eating. Her family would ask Alice to sit down, but as soon as she sat, she would immediately get up and start pacing again. Okay, step 1, detect and connect. What are the triggers for the behavior?
She thinks it's time to go to work.
She was a nurse and she walked all day.
She was a nurse, she walked all day, so this is old rote behavior, right? This is something that she did all the time. What else? What else is triggering her? Maybe she has to go to the bathroom. Okay. Maybe she thinks she has to go to an appointment. Boredom. So then, I'm sorry. Needing to stay active, right? She wants to move around, which is great. Anxiety. She's anxious. She has some pent-up energy. Okay, then ask yourself who, what, where, when, and how. When is this happening? In the evening?
In the evening.
Go ahead. She doesn't want to sit down with her family? Sure. Maybe there's too many people in the home. There's too many people involved. Absolutely.
So maybe she worked at night.
Maybe she worked at night. Maybe it's sundowning. Does everybody know what sundowning is? Do you want to tell us what sundowning is?
I'm not sure exactly what it is. My dad had cancer, and they said sometimes this is associated
with cancer, and at the end of the day, maybe the person is just so exhausted, their brain is tired, and they go through some things that aren't making sense.
Absolutely. So, go ahead.
And maybe the medication they're taking might be an appropriate dose?
It might be medications, but absolutely. Let me respond to the sundowning, is that oftentimes we'll see more problematic behavior or repetitive behavior as the day progresses. So in the evening, when the quote-unquote sun goes down, sundowning, the cues in the environment are different, and your loved one might not be able to adjust to them. So this nighttime walking around, this anxiety is pretty common with people with Alzheimer's. Has anybody ever experienced more difficult behaviors in the evening than maybe in the morning or midday? Yeah, it's pretty common. If you looked around, there were a lot of hands. Then the next question, are these activities only happening when other people are around? So when you mentioned maybe it's her family, maybe she doesn't want to sit down for dinner, maybe there's too many people in the house. Sure, absolutely. Any of those things. Or all of them. Or one of them. Right? This is you playing detective. And they might not want to go to sleep. They might not want to go to sleep. I don't never have that problem. I'm ready for bed. Step 2, the physical issues. Okay? Are they in pain? Gentleman back here mentioned prescription medication could be causing some of these problems. Is a person not involved in activities? Are we keeping them active in the day? Right? Who's gone to Great America or Marine World? Right? By the end of the day, with kids. Right? Right? Everybody's worn out at the end of the day. But the kids are sitting there in the back seat, conked out. Right? You want to utilize that energy, that freak out energy. You want to do it during the day. So, hopefully, the person will sleep at night. Right? So hopefully, they will sleep, and most importantly, you will sleep. Okay? So thinking about some activities that your loved one can engage in. Check if the person's hungry or thirsty. No coffee. If you're going to do coffee, don't do it after 4. If the person's going to be going to bed like at 8 or 9. Okay? Or if they're lacking social interaction, engagement. The more they use their brain, and you force them to engage, and you force them to interact, right? They're going to wear themselves out. Right? So by the time I'm done here today, I'm not talking to anybody. Because I'm going to be exhausted. Right? Because hopefully I'm giving you 120. Also explore the surrounding area to see if anything may have triggered the discomfort. Noises in the environment, light, shadows, anything. Another body, too many bodies in the room, TV sets on. Yes?
My mother has had dementia for over 12 years, and she's 97, so she's not really mobile anymore. So a lot of what you've been speaking on is for people who can get around more.
Well, yeah, so her mother's not mobile. So this is just an example to kind of get you to start thinking about some of those core tools when you're assessing behavior. So mobility is going to be an issue. If your loved one is not mobile, then they're not going to be pacing back and forth. However, they might have some anxiety-provoked behaviors where maybe they're biting their fingernails, or they're clenching their fists, right? Or they're hitting themselves. So it could manifest in something else.
For the most part, she's fairly quiet, but between 3 and 5, she starts to get agitated. Mm-hmm. And every 2 minutes for hours, she says, I want to go home.
I want to go home.
And it's, before we used to put her in the car, drive her around. Well, we can't really do that much anymore. So, any ideas on?
So can we table that for the experts? Write that down. See, I like telling Craig what to do. He doesn't listen, but that's okay. I keep trying. I think, this is a sundowning thing, right? Keeping them, if you're able to engage them before that starts, so if you start seeing this decline like around 2 o'clock, and then it starts getting worse by 4 o'clock, which is not atypical, then I would engage them in some sorting task where they can sit and do something, or maybe you sort through pictures, or maybe this is your reading time, you read to them, so that you're kind of using their brain power so that they're not overstimulated by 4 o'clock, okay? It could be that addressing the anxiety that she's feeling. It's okay. We'll go home soon, and then redirect to something else. Why don't we listen to some music? Right? So whatever old music that your mother used to like, crank that up. Right? Engage in some other activity. Redirect. Oftentimes, what our initial response is when somebody says, I want to go home, is what? You are home. Not their reality, right? So address the emotional needs, right? Calm them down, right? Deal with whatever anxiety, deal with whatever frustration that they have. Check to see if something has happened to upset the person. Sometimes triggers can hurt feelings, right? You yelled at them, you snapped at them, even though you thought you were perfect, right? Somebody with Alzheimer's disease or related dementia responds to your emotion. Now, how many of you are married or been in a relationship? Okay, just the women, because you know you do this. When the significant other comes home, right, and they did something or said something or didn't say something, and they come home, and then they look at you and ask you, what's wrong? And you say, nothing. Exactly like that. Nothing. You're lying, right? They know it, you know it, right? But the tone in your voice, your body language, your hand on your hip, your back turned to them, right, expresses that something's up, right? Your loved one is going to read that behavior as well. They might not know how to respond to it by walking away and leaving you alone, right? They might engage. What did I do? What did you do? I'm sorry. Or I didn't do anything. You're just crazy. Whatever it is. But they're going to feed off of your emotions. So it's really important to really, quote unquote, check yourself before you respond. Am I responding appropriately? What is the tone of my voice? Right? What is my body language saying? You might want to join the person physically in that activity. So if they are walking around or pacing, join them. Walk around with them. Talk with them. Right? Hold their hand. Guide them back to the chair. Right? As you're doing this. Right? Sit with them to calm them down. Right? When they're saying, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home. And then step 4. Did anything that you do work? Maybe. Hopefully. I keep my fingers crossed. But if you didn't, then you would have to reassess. Okay, what did I do wrong? Am I able to figure out what the trigger is, right, in order for that behavior not to occur? Or do I just need to let this go and know that this is always going to happen at 4 o'clock and it's not the end of the world? Right? Because sometimes we have to let the behavior just happen. Because that behavior is not going to happen forever. It feels that way. Right? Again, as long as that person is safe and doesn't hurt themselves, then walking around is probably not the end of the world. What we don't want is them to walk outside, right? So is that safety measure? Yes?
Yes, my question is, my sister is in a long-term care facility, and I go see her maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And lately, every time I go, she's asking, I say, how are you today? And she's talking very little. And I'll say, she looks angry, so I say, do you want me to stay? And sometimes she'll say yes, and sometimes she'll say no. And when she says no, like the other day, Friday, she told me no. I said, well, I'm going to sit here with you for a few minutes, and I have some new socks for you, and then I'll go and I'll see you later.
And did that work for her?
That, she just said, okay.
Okay.
And I said, fine.
Yeah, and so oftentimes you can't rely on their behavior, on their verbal response, right? No, go. I don't want you here. That might not necessarily be true, right?
Right.
So, especially when you're visiting a loved one in a facility, sometimes we bring our own anxiety into that facility when we're at that visit, right? Our own guilt. Right? And so when we're there, I'm sorry I placed you. This place is horrible. I don't want to leave you either. I'm sorry I gotta go. And you spend the next hour saying, bye, yes, I'm sorry, right? What are you doing? Right? You're making them angry and upset. But these are, you're not doing it on purpose. You're trying to express your guilt and your grief around the decision that you made. You never do that with the person with the disease, right? Because you're going to agitate them even more. Where do you do that? You call Craig, right? Or you come to a support group and talk to other people, or you talk to your friends, or you talk to your church group, or your pastor, or whatever, right? But you never respond that way to your loved one, because it's just going to agitate them more, right? Your job is to make sure that they're contented and that they're happy. Time? I'm not going to have time to go through the other one, but how many people get asked the same question over and over again?
Yeah, please help us.
A lot of people. When's dinner? Why are we doing this? No, I don't want to go. What's happening? Right? So, you need to recognize what your threshold is. What's your breaking point? How many times can they ask you before you lose it? Right? For me, it depends on the person. Right? For my mother, it's 3. Right? Because she doesn't wear her hearing aids and it drives me crazy. Right? So she gets 3. My dad gets 1. Craig gets none. Right? But the same question over and over again, but a family member asking me this, somebody else I'm working with besides Craig, will get maybe 8. And then I have to walk away. Or I have to take a deep breath. Okay? I have to remove myself from the situation. Know what your breaking point is. Right? For some of you, that doesn't bother you. Right? The repetitive questioning. You're able to respond the same way over and over and over again. For others, it's an issue. Right? So know what your boiling point is. Right? The other thing, with repetitive questioning or that anxiety, it's really anxiety because they're unsure. They can't remember what you just told them. Right? So they literally don't remember. So and our typical response is, don't you remember I told you it was at 5 o'clock? That's not helpful. No, they do not remember, right? Oftentimes, we give up too much information way in advance, right? Oh, so-and-so's coming for dinner on Mother's Day. What are you doing? Right? And so what? When's Mother's Day? 2 weeks from now? 3 weeks from now? Every day, they're going to ask you, well, who's coming over? When are they coming over? Why are they coming over? I don't want these people in my house. Right? And what happened? messed up. You told them to wait too soon, right? When do you tell them? The day of. Right? Same thing with doctor's appointments, the day of. And then what do you say? Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. I'm so sorry, it's my fault. Right? I forgot, my fault, please forgive me. I know I'm horrible, but it'll be okay. Right? Because then you're only dealing with that anxiety and that frustration for 2 hours, as opposed to 2 weeks. Right? I'd rather deal with it for 2 hours than 2 weeks every day. Because then on the day of, I'm over it. I'm done. I don't want anybody coming over. Right? So again, we might not be able to address the trigger or figure out what's happening before, but we can change the way we respond. Right? We can change the way we interact with the person. This is what we have control over. We do not have control over this disease, right? We don't have control over when the next shoe's gonna drop, right? We have control over being prepared, worst possible scenario, right? And how we're gonna react to it. Now, if we're reacting up here 24/7, not very healthy for us, right? But if we're calm, cool, collected, a little bit better, right? If we're able to get resources and other support, if we're able to learn more about the disease, right? Connect with other people, connect with other professionals, the better prepared that we're gonna be, right? I feel that oftentimes for caregivers, this constant back and forth, the push and pull, is us trying to have control over a situation that's uncontrollable, right? This constant battle. When you're ready, when you have your aha moment of, I don't have control over this, right? But I do have control over, am I gonna yell at the person? Am I gonna, try to be this super caregiver? Or am I just gonna do the best that I can to get through this with the support that's in the community? These are your choices. This is what you have control over. Right, so I really hope that you can reach out to the Alzheimer's Association. Please visit the vendors, find out what they do, right? Because they're here to support you, right? And you're also here to support one another, right? So connect with one another during lunch. I implore you to go and meet somebody that you don't know, and maybe sit with them and ask them why they're here. Who are they caring for? And maybe exchange an email or a phone number, right? Reach out to your community. Reach out to us, learn more, go to support groups, what have you. It's all about that. It's a village, right? You cannot do this alone. Not for the long haul. Not if we're talking 15, 20 years. So I know my time is up. I really appreciate. I had fun. I'm sweating.